We're turning now to Michigan for the sentencing of Chadwick Mobley. So this guy pleaded no contest earlier this year to first-degree murder in the case of the death of 20-year-old Andrea Eilber. Now, Eilber was shot in the head back in 2011. It happened on Wednesday when we were covering some other big trials, so we're revisiting the best moments from that sentencing hearing for you. Let's go in together to that courtroom now.
All right, calling the matter of people in the state of Michigan versus Chadwick Shane Mobley, case number 230146440FC. Appearances, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Oronde Patterson, representing the people. First name spelled O-R-O-N-D-E, last name Patterson. P number is 57211.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Robin Liddell on behalf of the people, R-B-Y-N-L-I-D-D-E-L-L, P68287.
Frederick on behalf of Mr. Mobley.
Melissa Reddick on behalf of Mr. Mobley.
Mr. Mobley, say your name for the record, please.
Chadwick Shane Mobley.
Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Miller, today's the date and time set in connection with Mr. Mobley's sentencing. Have you had an opportunity to go to the pre-sentence investigation report with your client?
I have, Your Honor. We've gone over it. We have no additions or deletions or corrections.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Patterson or Ms. Liddell, do you have anything to indicate for the record on behalf of the people?
No additions, deletions, or corrections, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Patterson, anything you'd like to indicate to the court with respect to sentencing, or are there victims present that would like to speak at this time?
With the court's permission, there are two family members here to speak to address the court, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Mr. Mobley, if you would please come around the council table. Yes, if you would, ma'am, please right up to the podium. And if you would state your name.
Hello, my name is Carly Teachout.
Please teach out whenever you're ready.
To say that Andrea's murder was life-altering is an understatement. The murder of a 20-year-old girl, 20-year-old Andrea Eilber, was a shift in the universe. Andrea was, still is, and always will be my stepsister. Her father, Steve Eilber, and my mother, Kimberly Teachout, formed a relationship when Andrea and I were just children. I was 17 years old when she was taken, when you shot her to death. At 17, I thought that 20 was so old, and now that I'm in my 30s, I reflect on the fact that Andrea was just a baby when she was strapped to a chair and shot to death. It was not only Andrea that was taken that day, but our parents were also gone. They were never the same people. They were suffocated with endless sadness, anger, and frustration that gripped their lives every single day. Steve will suffer with these feelings until the day he dies. And unfortunately, my mother passed away in February of 2021, and what she wouldn't give to be here today. Somebody once told me that you're a widow when you lose your spouse. You're an orphan when you lose your parents, but there is no word to describe the loss of a child. You were a coward. Chad Mobley, you don't deserve, nor do you care to hear about what a beautiful soul Andrea was. So I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of knowing exactly what you took from us. However, I just want you to know, I want you to go to sleep every night knowing what a waste of human life you are. Only a coward would shoot and kill a 20-year-old woman in the back of her head. And only a coward would say he doesn't remember what happened that night. You are not good enough to be considered a monster, because even a monster would have told us why, which is all we've ever asked for. Chad Mobley, I hope you understand that your God will never forgive you, and neither will I. This will be the last time I think about you, you complete waste of life, until I see you and your accomplice both in hell.
And your name, please.
My name is Stephanie Hummer. I'm Andrea's aunt. It has been said, time heals all wounds. I would just like to get that chance to at least feel some relief. Our family has spent 14.5 years thus far in and out of a courtroom with not even the slightest chance to heal. Not only have we lost Andrea, who was everything you want a child to grow up to be. Funny, kind, caring, and loving. Not that you cared. Always respectful to everyone. You see, Andrea knew the importance of her family and others in her life, because at the age of 14, she had to care for her dying mother, Dawn. I can't say I'm completely satisfied with your plea of no contest, as it leaves us with so many unanswered questions. Although I realize we may never know the answers. At least this plea will hopefully get you out of society so you can never harm anyone else's loved one. There's not enough time I could be given for me to explain the absolute hell of losing Andrea in my home, as it is truly life-shattering. Our family endured because we are strong, but actually we've had no choice. My wish for you, Chadwick Mobley, is that Michigan had the death penalty, in which you could be led knowingly to a cold hard chair, strapping your body down and ending your life. Chadwick Mobley, you should never be allowed to murder someone else's loved one. You definitely need to be kept out of society. Please, prison in your entire life, no chance of parole, and no chance of any appeal. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson, any comment on behalf of the people?
No, Your Honor. People don't have any additional comment besides what the court just heard. I don't know if this is the proper time to say to the court. I know in terms of the counts, people would be moving to dismiss the second count, and Mr. Mobley be sentenced on the first count. Other than that, people have nothing else to add.
All right, thank you, Mr. Patterson. Mr. Miller, anything you'd like to indicate to the court on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, just briefly, that it is down to one count, the first-degree murder, if I remember correctly.
The court will dismiss count 2, the felony murder.
All right. Your Honor, I've only had the chance to know Mr. Mobley from 2023 forward. That's not the man that he was back in 2011. He's always been very respectful to me and remorseful for this situation. And I do believe that he wants to make a statement.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Mobley, now is your opportunity. If you'd like, you may address the court.
Firstly, Your Honor, I would just like to say that I'm so sorry to the victims and their family, that I got no words that could bring them solace, but I am so sorry for their loss. I would also like to say something that's been brought up to me so many times over the last year. As far as Kenneth Grondin goes, I do not know who this guy is. I have never met him. I've never spoken to him. I've never communicated with him on any form of media. I do not know this guy other than what I've read in the press, from a documentary, and from the discovery that I've been given. Thank you, Your Honor.
More to this hearing coming up right after the break. Thank you for being with us here on Court TV Live. Back to court we go now. We're in Michigan for the sentencing of defendant Chadwick Mobley. He pleaded no contest earlier this year to the murder of 20-year-old Andrea Eilber. She was shot in the head back in 2011. The sentencing happened on Wednesday when we were covering some other big trials for you. So this morning, we're going back to the moments from court. What an emotional day it was. We were just hearing from the defendant himself. Let's go back in now.
So the policy of the state of Michigan favors individualized sentencing for every convicted defendant. The sentence has to be tailored to fit the circumstances of the case and the defendant. And Mr. Mobley, in looking at what would be an appropriate sentence in your case, the court had to take into consideration factors such as discipline, punishment of the wrongdoer, the protection of society, the potential for rehabilitation, and deterring others from committing like offenses. They know Mr. Miller and Ms. Reddick have had an opportunity to go to the pre-sentence investigation of the court. Yeah, I know they've done that. I know as a matter of course they do that in every case. And as a result of the circumstance that you're in court for here this afternoon and all of the things that have led up to this, by necessity, the court has to focus on you. You are the reason why we're here. But I strongly suspect that, and I would be willing to bet that 13 years, 5 months, and 1 day ago, that your casual flick of a cigarette butt, I bet you never thought that would lead you here. The court has had an opportunity to review the pre-sentence investigation report in this case, and I just want to say that given the fact that essentially the information contained in that report is what has been officially been presented to the court, is something that the court may rely on, and Michigan law is clear that it's presumptively accurate, the information that's in that report, and the court may utilize that. So here the unchallenged information is quite simple, and it coincides with the stipulated facts that were presented to the court previously. And what was presented to the court at your plea hearing revealed that it is uncontested that a crime was committed and that you committed it. But the question here is not whether a crime was committed, but why. The court sits at the head of the criminal justice system. But this case represents a sad failing of our system. What happens here today is not justice. How can the court possibly offer justice to this family when we can't even give them answers? It's not justice for Andrea Eilber's family. It's not justice for anyone in our community when the court's job is to, at the end of the day, make sure that our community is safe. It's been 4,901 days for this family with no answers. There's no justice being done today. It is not lost on this court in the information contained in that pre-sentence investigation report that you are a Navy veteran, honorably discharged, who left your career in the service because, in your words, you were tired of war. Certainly everyone understands that sentiment. I can't think of anyone who would disagree with that. But you traded the conflict of the Middle East and everything that went with it and brought the violence back here to our county. You took a life that wasn't yours to take. And along with it, you took the lives of the family that loved her. And you, sir, will live with that for the rest of your life. From a legal standpoint, your case couldn't be more simple. Because at the end of the day, the sentence is, there's no choice for the court. But in this particular circumstance, this particular case that has lived on for so long, it's so much more complicated. The court only wishes at this point in time the court could offer the family the explanation that it deserves for why you did what you did that day. And it's unrefuted that you did it. The sentence of the court, Mr. Mobley, in your case, like I said, is really quite simple. Under the facts and circumstances of this case, the court sentences you to the Michigan Department of Corrections for the rest of your life, with credit for 0 days served. You must pay a crime victim's assessment in the amount of $130, pay court costs of $500. You must pay an attorney fee in the amount of $42,500. You must comply with DNA testing and pay a $60 fee. You must pay $136, which is a $68 per count state cost. And in the scope of the reason why we're here, those costs just seem silly. I'm almost embarrassed to tell you that you owe $136 state cost. Given the cost to our community and the cost of life, that's in connection with count 1, the first-degree murder charge. With respect to count 3, it's the sentence of the court that you'd be sentenced to the Michigan Department of Corrections for an additional 2 years, which will run consecutive with the life term that you're serving in connection with count 1. You get credit for 657 days served, and you must pay a $68 state cost. That is the sentence of the court. Mr. Miller, it's the court's understanding that you've already presented Mr. Mobley with a copy of the Notice of Appellate Rights. Is that correct?
I have, Your Honor. I've gone over it. I have a signed copy that he's received it, and I also have an executed copy for the appeal itself. If I can approach, I'll hand those to the court.
All right, thank you, Mr. Miller. Any reason you can think the court needs to go over those rights with your client on the record?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson, anything further on behalf of the people?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Miller, anything further on behalf of Mr. Mobley?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. We are in recess.
And bye-bye he goes for the murder of Andrea Eilber. What a great judge, right? Loved that opinion with his sentence. There's just no justice here. Like he said, justice wasn't going to be done today for what happened to that beautiful young woman. Our hearts, our prayers go out to her family as they've got a long grieving process still ahead of them, even though she was killed in 2011.